Hey there's Pocket Camera community. This here is the Pocket Camera Guy, and today I've got my DJI Osmo Pocket 1. Gonna take it outside, walk around the trail, let you get a glimpse of the stabilization, the image quality, both inside and outside, along with the onboard audio. Now, while I'm outside, the only adjustment I will make is I'm gonna add a freewell wide angle lens so that you get a better field of view while we're outside. So let's go take a look. Okay, so now we are out here on the trail, and I've got the Freewell wide angle lens on, and we're just walking down the trail. And so now you can kind of get an idea of the stabilization, the image quality, and the audio quality. Also throw in a little B-roll so you can kind of see the type images you can capture with this little camera. Okay, so now we are back in the office, still using the DJI Pocket 1. And here are my thoughts on this camera, because as much as I do like this camera, I enjoy using it. I understand the features and benefits and, all the different things you can do with it. There are a couple drawbacks that kind of prevent me from using this camera a little more often. First, when you're holding the camera, it does feel a little fragile. It's not as durable feeling as like a GoPro or an Osmo Action or other chunkier action cameras. The gimbal and the slim design, they just make it feel a little more awkward in your hand. And to be honest, I'm very concerned that I might ding it up, or if I drop it, I'm going to break the gimbal. And so that does create a little bit of reluctancy on my part. Now, I do have a cage for it. It's just a plastic Ulanzi cage, but it does come with some action camera mounts, the little cleats. And so I can attach that to some selfie sticks and make it a little bit more practical to use. But still, if you want to hold it handheld, which is the purpose of a pocket camera, throw it in your pocket, you take it out, you use it. I find that I don't use this one as often just because it's hard to carry without a case, because the gimbal does spin freely when you don't have it in a case. Okay, so there's that. Then there's also the microphones. When you're holding it and you're wanting to do it in selfie mode like this, your tendency is to wrap your fingers around the camera, or at least hold it on the front. That's where the speaker or the microphone is. It's right there up front. And then on the bottom, there's another microphone. And so if you're holding it, maybe your pinky's under the bottom, it's very easy to either rub the microphone or to cover it entirely. And so that's another concern. Now, the image quality is great. It's a 4K image. You've got a slew of different options. Because it's a gimbal, it gives you very smooth footage. You've got the opportunity to connect, like I'm doing now, an external microphone. And in this environment, when you've got it sitting still, you've got an external microphone. You can control the lighting in your atmosphere, because it is a little bit of a smaller sensor, so it is prone to be affected by really intense bright lights, like being outside. If it's super sunny outside, then you might get an overblown shot. So I have to carry ND filters with me for this camera, and again, that's just something else that you have to take with you. The screen is pretty small, and so if you're trying to make adjustments on the fly, it is kind of hard to see. There is no speaker, so when you're playing back your footage, you can't hear it. You have to download it to your phone, or at least connect it to your phone in order to hear it. Now, that's one of the better features. Right on front, there is an adapter that just clicks right into a storage space. You pop that out. Mine is for the iPhone. You connect that, you flip it around, you slide it back into that slot, and you connect it to your iPhone. that's probably the best way to use the camera. You hold it in conjunction with your iPhone. So you get a much bigger screen. You have all the controls for all the functionality. And then you can also watch your playback, view that, and then you can also hear it. And so that to me is probably one of the better features. Now, I can hear you. I can sense what you're thinking because I thought the same thing. Well, why would I connect it to my phone when my phone already has a camera? That's a great point. Now, the only difference is with your iPhone, if you're doing it like this and you're trying to get that smooth shot, you're not on a gimbal, so the chances are you're probably going to get a very unsteady, uneven shot. But if you connect this gimbal camera to your iPhone or any other cell phone, then you're going to get a much more smoother video. And I do like the Decent-alike, because what that does is it gives you a flatter image when it comes to your color, and you can color grade that later. And so you have way more control, I think, with the DJI Osmo Pocket. And I believe that the sensor size might be a little bit bigger. Maybe. Don't quote me on that, because the 13 and the 14s have a much bigger sensor than the iPhones when this camera first came out. So if it's not bigger, it's the same. All right. And so again, love this camera. And let me just throw this out here. I looked at the pricing for this camera, and it's still almost as expensive as it was when I bought it probably over a year ago. And so even though the 2 was already out and is still out, this camera has still held its value. So that kind of illustrates just how good this camera is and how sought after it is. People still love this camera, and they're still trying to get their hands on it. We're still waiting for the 3. I don't think that we're going to see a 3. I think the DJI brand is probably moved away from the Pocket and is probably going to go more heavily into the Action. I have the Action 2, the modular setup, and I love that camera. That is great. But then they went back to the Osmo 3, or the Action 3, went back to its modular design. No, I'm sorry, went away from the modular design and went back to a standard action cam form factor. And so I think that's what they're going to start putting most of their money into, that and drones. So to wrap it all up, love the DJI Osmo Pocket. I think it still has value in 2023. But if you're looking for a gimbal style camera, you're probably better off getting the 2, because it does have the ability to connect a wireless microphone where this one does not. So I would probably, if you're going to spend the money on the 2. But if you can find a Pocket 1 on sale, save yourself a little money. This is still a great camera, and I do love using it. So hey, I've gone on long enough about this camera. I am the Pocket camera guy. Hope you enjoyed this one. Do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. And if this is the kind of content that you enjoy watching, go ahead and become a subscriber. Oh, and a quick plug. I made this entire video on a new piece of software called CapCut. It's free. And so if you like the way this looked, hey, go check them out. CapCut, it's free download. And I put my music together with Epidemic Sound. And so I love their inventory of music. So if you're looking to up your video game with some background music, Epidemic Sound. So hey, Pocket Camera Guy saying we will see you in the next one.